Good evening, Kiker, Comet, parents and families and caregivers. Welcome. We're so glad you could be here tonight. And while there's just a few of you here, I promise that a few stragglers will be coming in. So let me start with some introductions. I've got Miss Randy Frazier, counselor, and Miss Catherine Bankston, counselor. And not more important than the rest of us, but way more important than the rest of us, Miss Whitney Myers, our PTA president. And all I can say about that is we really, truly believe in being together in unity and supporting each other. And so if you can join PTA or find something that you are interested in, that would be wonderful. And they have a table right outside. Whitney, is there anything you want to say?
That's good.
Join PTA?
Yep.
I said it?
Yes.
Okay.
You said it. Thank you.
All right. And we also have... I don't see anybody else we have. So, me. Hi. I am Dr. Lori Schneider. I am your principal. Do we have any new people in the crowd? Okay, we do. So then I get to say thank you for all of your honor and support and guidance and nominations and celebration as I was named AISD's Principal of the Year. Thank you. All right, so I am entering my 26th year in education, and I have loved every minute of it and what we have done here for children. And I'm just honored that you entrust us with your kids. And I do notice one other person, Lisa Ward, who is also one of my sidekicks, our assistant principal. Lisa Ward. Excuse me. Lisa Casey. She got married this summer. I tell you, all these name changes, I don't know what to do with all that. But okay, here we go. So first of all, know that at Kiker Elementary School, we are student-focused and student committed. And one of the things that we do, because we believe so much, every decision we make is on behalf of students. We start here together every single morning in morning assembly. We start school 10 minutes early just to have those 10 extra minutes with your children. And and you're welcome. We want you to come. We want you to hear that, be part of that. We want you to come and stand at the far end of the gymnasium wall so that you can hear those discussions and be part of that. And just know that some of the things we talk about learning, and that's what school is for, that we don't expect you to come to school and know all the answers. We talk about how we treat others, and the children know, and if there's any Kiker comments, do I see any Kiker children? I see one. Are there any other Kiker comments? Okay, I didn't want to put that one. Oh, I see a couple more. Okay, so my Kiker comments tell me, how do we treat others? With?
Kindness, dignity, and respect.
Oh, all right, that's it. We treat others with kindness, dignity, and respect. And the children, for short, call it KDR. So if you ever hear them talking about KDR, that's what that is. We talk about character traits such as integrity and respect. We talk about goal setting, and we celebrate birthdays. We've already talked about how to handle situations when someone might be trying to get your attention and you should be using your active listening skills and focused on someone else. We've taught them about nonverbal communication, where you can simply show a sign and point at the teacher, or you can swivel your body, just turn away. We've talked about verbal and nonverbal communication, so the students know there are times when I want them to tell me and times when I want them to show me. And so that is something that is wonderful for us to have those conversations, and even kindergarten students know what nonverbal communication means. We talk about active listening and how important it is, and what pieces, what stages you go through as an active listener. So our kindergartners and our first graders start learning early on that active listening means, number one, looking at the speaker, okay? That's an easy one. We also talk about how sometimes we start thinking about what we want to do that night. That's not active listening. Sometimes we think about the birthday party that's coming up. That's not active listening. And so we use this big word that starts with a P. Any adults ever heard me say it? What do I say? I hear you say it. We're processing. So our young children know early on active listening means looking and then processing, training our brain to think about what's being said by the speaker, the teacher, the other students, the principal, your parents, or caregivers. We've taught them, I'm old-fashioned, we taught them, yes, ma'am, and no, sir, and yes, sir, and no, ma'am. We've taught them about managing their impulsivity. And we've had a long conversation about that one and how we all want to do different things at times when they may not be that appropriate, and how to handle that. And that's what we expect. We use the words expected behavior. What's expected? What's not expected? Now, these assemblies are how we start our day, like a family. And for me, it's one of the highlights of my day. I love it. I love talking with the children. I walk up and down the line, and I talk with the children, and sometimes I'll have them turn and talk. Like when I say, what does processing mean? Turn and talk. And then I'll say, give me 5, and they give me 5. And then I'll have a couple people share. And I was really working the crowd up here because we've got some beginning kinders and firsts. And a 5th grade parent stopped me and said, Dr. Schneider, you might want to get to the back because my son came home today and said, it's not fair. The kindergartners and first graders get all the questions this year. So I've made it a point to get back there. But you are always welcome. We always want you to be here. So now let me tell you a little bit about what we believe. And you guys have heard me say this over and over, and I'm going to work really hard to move through this. I cut a ton of my speech, and I'm still behind schedule. We believe, and we teach the children, and we try to teach you so that you'll use the same language, that we all have strengths. Every single one of us has strengths and talents. Do you know, I visited with a family that was new to Kiker, and the child was in 3rd grade, and no one had talked to them about their child's strengths. And to me, that's a crime. To me, in kindergarten, our children should come home and talk to you about what their strengths are. Because that's where we start. I don't know about you guys, but if I poll, I could ask you, what do you do for a living? Say it again.
Financial advisor.
Financial advisor. What do you do for a living?
Software engineer.
Software engineer. I don't know anything about that or that, but you know what I do know about? Children. And you know what that is? It's my strength. Now, you're a financial advisor. I bet you don't know anything about money. I bet it's a big struggle for you. Is it a struggle for you? No, it's a strength. Software engineer. Strength or struggle?
I wish it was strength. I want to believe it's strength.
Catch my drift? What do we go into when we become adults? Anybody? What's our job? What are we headed toward? Something we're good at or something we're really, really bad at? Anybody? So, does it make sense to focus constantly on struggles? Yes, we want to focus on them and we want to give them the tools, but it's important they know that every single student has worth. Every single student has strengths, has talents, has something to offer. Now, we do talk about struggles, and we talk about the fact that we all have struggles. All of us. Sometimes they're out there for the world to see. They're public. And sometimes they're private and hidden. And they exist. And we talk about that. And here's the thing. Some students struggle with reading. There's 5 components of reading, 5 components of literacy. I won't go into what they are. But a student might struggle in any one of the fluency, comprehension, phonics, phonemic awareness, vocabulary. They may be stronger in one and not so strong in another. Reading. Some of our kids might struggle with raising their hand. Sometimes they're blurting it out. That's a struggle. Some of our kiddos, and it's happened in assembly, have a little trouble letting go of mom and dad right away, so they're screaming at morning assembly. That's their struggle. And you know what I say to the kids when that happens? I say, you know what? It's okay. We don't even need to look over there. I just saw a principal friend of mine, and it just totally made me go, whoop, because I respect him so much. But at any rate, let me get back on track. So what I say to those kiddos when somebody's being loud and crying out loud is, you know what? We don't even have to look over there because they're making their struggle public. We all have struggles. It's no different. Let's pay attention to what we're doing, and we move on, and we normalize it. So we talk about that. With ADHD, with students with ADHD and autism and anxiety and emotional disturbance, we've got a lot of kids like that. You know what the problem with those kids are? The problem is they don't have anything growing outside of their head, or they're not in a wheelchair. So everybody looks at them and expects them to be normal, to pay attention, to do what's expected, to follow every rule. And you know what? When those kiddos, especially the ones that are impulsive and they do their thing, soon after they go into a shame cycle where they start feeling bad about themselves. Well, I've spent a lot of time over the years talking to my kids with especially ADHD. They come in, they sit down, and I say, let me guess. It's not that you can't pay attention. It's that you pay attention to everything. And they're like, yes, you got it. And I say, well, guess what? I have ADHD, so that means you can grow up and become a principal or a CEO, because we have to be able to pay attention to everything. And they're like, yes. And that's what it's all about. So we talk about that, and we normalize the fact that if you need help with reading, we're going to help you with reading. If you need help with raising your hand, we're going to help you with that. If you need help with behavior, we're going to help you with that. We believe that we're all different, and we embrace those differences, and we talk about those differences. We say, look around. You don't look the same. We talk about families are different. We talk about foods that you eat. And I promise I'm going to let you go in a minute. I know you're anxious to get to your classrooms. I'm going to let you go in 2 more minutes. We talk about that somebody might bring food that looks different and smells different. Do we look at them and go, ooh, what's that? No. We say, that looks interesting. That's explicitly teaching how to handle a situation they don't come with. All right? So we got to teach it, and we do. And we talk about how differences add richness to each other's lives. Now, I've got 2 pages that I've got to sum up in about a minute. So let me scan this. Oh, something I want to make sure that is extremely clear. We expect our students to come to school, make mistakes, fail, fail some more, make more mistakes. And here's the thing, guys, don't blame it on the teachers. And when I call, don't say, oh, my child would never, because I'm here to tell you, they would. I've seen it. Have you seen it? They would. They will. It happens. They're kids. That's why we have school. So know that our kids are going to make mistakes, and your job is to let them own it. We own it, we take care of our behavior, and then we change our behavior. And it's all part of growing up, and we all make mistakes. And I talk about the time that, I have adults raise their hand if they make a mistake, and I've talked about the time that I made a mistake, and I was riding down the highway, and a police officer reminded me that I was making a mistake. We really strongly believe that intelligence is not fixed. We believe in a growth mindset. Look it up because I'm running out of time. In closing, follow me on Twitter at Kiker Comments. You might get pictures. You might never know when your child will be featured. In closing, thank you for coming in and sharing with me your time. I am so excited to be a part of helping your students grow academically, socially, emotionally, and behaviorally. I will always try to be open and honest as I can about what's happening. However, as you can imagine, there are hundreds of decisions a day that I make, and there's no way I can explain every single decision to you. So if you ever find that I make a mistake make a decision and you don't understand it, feel free to give me a call and let me know. I'm going to go ahead and apologize now because I know I'm going to make a mistake. So I hope you accept that. But if it's a biggie and we need to talk, give me a call. And please remember this. Teachers make mistakes, and try to remember that they're human. Please keep your concerns in the adult world. Little ears, believe you me, they can look like they're playing blocks, but they're really hearing everything you say. Believe me, they're like master scholars at that. They're ready to take the bus to Bowie on that skill, all right? I am going to ask you to consider refraining from blogging about, Facebooking about teachers by name and issues you have. For the one person that doesn't like a teacher, there are 10 more that do. I've been here 14 years. I'm here to tell you, there is no teacher here that doesn't belong in a school. I'm proud to say that. Okay? That's really all I need to say about that, right? Okay. So know that teachers make mistakes, and let's not Facebook about them. Please don't wait to the end of the year to write your comments on a survey if they're negative. Come talk to one of us. We want to know. We want to be better. We try to be better every year, and we do take into consideration your information. I'm going to encourage you to brag about your teachers on Facebook. Brag about Kiker. Brag about your principal. No, I'm just kidding. Lastly, when we make mistakes, try to remember we're human. Talk to us and forgive us. Please keep adult concerns in the adult world. And remember this, and then I'll let you go. Remember this. If you don't believe every story that comes home from school, we won't remember all the stories they tell us about you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the evening. Thank you.